Let's just sew whatever. I am so excited to finally be making this custom ordered Emily bag. You have no idea. This is definitely one of my favorite patterns. An oldie but a goodie for sure. I'm gonna get 2 bobbins wound. I already have one kind of half filled. Sadly, I'm not gonna be able to finish this bag. I'm gonna have to run to work. I don't have enough hardware. Haven't made bags in such a long time, like consistently, that I don't even look at what hardware I have. That's fun. So I'm gonna want 2 full bobbins. I thought about it, and when I was cutting the bag, I wanted to do like drips on the exterior base, especially since I added that little bit of fleece. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add some drips to the zipper pouch, so that way I can get it out of my system. And it's not something she paid for, so if it's kind of weird, she's not gonna care, you know? And winding a bobbin is good for your machine. It gets the oil circulating throughout. Just make sure you don't have a bobbin in your machine when you do it. It'll be okay. I am using a Tech 70 thread. I purchased this from Sunny Sewing. It's the Amon thread. Some of my favorite thread for sure. Okay, I might end up changing my needle in a little bit. We'll see. I don't know that I've used this one all that long, but maybe. All right. I might start with a zipper pouch, which, like, I realize maybe I'll make it 2 separate videos. So yeah, I'm gonna do the zipper pouch. I'll make it a separate video. So if you wanna watch that, go somewhere else. I'm making it out of all vinyl with quite a bit of interfacing. I do have a cutting video for this, just FYI, if you're curious. Just kind of checking this out. All right, let's do it. So I have my exterior main panel and my exterior bottom accent. I'm going to be sewing these right sides together. Just clipping everything so it lines up nicely. I'm going to use a stitch length of 4.5. I think that's pretty good. I might change it up when I top stitch, but maybe not. I am going to be using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I think in the pattern I use half, but I'm going to be way too close to my stabilizer if I do that. I don't know. So there's that, and then it's up to you if you want to butterfly that open. I really love the look. Oh, this feels so good. Okay, I'm excited. Yeah, I love the look of having this like bottom accent piece, and I am gonna increase my stitch length to 5, and I'm gonna start that stitch up here out of the way, so I'm not back stitching. The fleece has created this beautiful edge And then by doing the 3/8 inch seam allowance, I've allowed for room for all of that fabric to sit. So had I done half, it wouldn't rest as nicely. It's gorgeous. Literally stunning. All right. Okay, so I'm a little worried in the pattern to do the all vinyl. It says to make sure that your main panel measurement is 13.75. So I'm like, somehow I'm a 1/4 inch off somewhere, but I know I'll be able to make it up. So it's not too bad, but I'm very happy with this so far. So I'm gonna set that aside for now. We'll add our other one. And again, I'm doing 3/8 of an inch. I do want to apologize, like I've rewritten this pattern so many times in the life of being a bag maker, but I think this pattern is literally 8 years old. And then the last time I rewrote it was like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's due for another upgrade. I just want to find the time to do it. So 3/8. And I am stitching through that fleece, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. So next thing I need to do are my strap connectors, and I can't forget to add a nameplate to this. So I've got this 24 by 2 inch piece, and this is all of my strap connectors. And I'm going to stitch down at 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 of an inch down either side. I don't think I'll do the straps this way with like 4 rows of stitching. I could to keep it consistent and it'd be kind of fun. Well, maybe I will. We'll find out. We'll find out later. All right, so we're gonna cut these all at 4 inches. I don't think that's accurate enough, so I'm gonna do it like this. Because like if these aren't all the same height, it's gonna be really obvious, especially without there being a print on the exterior of this bag. These are not hidden strap connectors or anything like that, so you want them to look good. Okay. There's that. So we can use these. No, we gotta set them up now. It's like, these are for later. No, they're not. We're gonna need 4 now and 2 later, so we can set those aside. I'm gonna use 1/4 inch wide double-sided tape, just a little piece. At like 2/3, or like just past the center, I'd say. The lower center. You don't need a huge piece, just a little bit. And then I'll grab my hardware. I'm using regular 1-inch square rings. These are not usually my preference lately. I like the simple, but these are really fancy looking. My only reason for not loving them on my machine is because they're a little bulky on the sides, so it makes it harder to top stitch. But I'm gonna use a scrap of seatbelt webbing to cover them, and it'll be okay. And then I've seen people actually like save this paste film that comes, that we're taking off, and you can cover the sides of them back up, like if you were to sell it or ship it, take it somewhere. If that makes sense. But I know this is kind of a pain to take off, but it keeps them from getting all scuffed up before they get to you. And we like that. All right. I went ahead and decided to prep all of my connectors. It's kind of fun being able to line up the stitch lines. So I'm taping it down and then clipping and then adding another little piece on the back so that when I set this down on my fabric, it doesn't move. You want to be careful when you're adding your double-sided tape. You want to keep it away from your hardware, or your hardware won't move freely. And you want to keep it away from the top of your seam, because if you can't stitch high enough, you're going to see that tape, and we don't want that. So like, I'm not going to be able to stitch any closer than like there. So I don't want my tape to extend past it. Now you see it, and you're like, ew. Ooh. Now it's too quiet. All right, I'm gonna add my name tag super quick. I'm gonna find the center of the bag. Wait, I think my ruler fits. It's like I did it on purpose. All right, so 6 is the center. Okay, I will need this again when I add my connectors. We're gonna seam rip through this. And I have that fleece in there, which is gonna help with the interfacing. And then you can add a little piece of duct tape over that. Very nice. Some people fold the prongs in. I really like the way it feels with the prongs folded out. It like suctions my nameplate on there since it's got like a beveled edge. It feels really nice. So now I'm gonna get 2 separate rulers, and I can never remember if it's 5 or 4.5. I have no idea. But we're gonna do 1.5 inches from the top. Right now I've got it at 4.5 inches in. I feel like that's accurate. Yeah, that looks right. Whoa. Don't drop it. Whoa. So using 2 different rulers helps me press this into place. So I can push along all those edges and get that squared up exactly where I need it to be. Press it down. And then repeat on the other side. So we did 4.5. And then 1.5 inches down. And I'm lining up my vinyl. I'm not lining up my connector with that. I'm moving my square hardware, my square ring hardware up so that I can press the edge of my vinyl into that corner. And then if you know your tape's gonna hold, you could, you know, get everything taped in place. But we know we're doing 4.5. I'm just gonna double check, because with a printed bag, you can get away with if they're not quite right lined up wise, but on an all solid bag with a hella contrasting, no. No, you better know what you got going on. All right, I've got my threads nice and long. I'm gonna go really slow around this connector. Pull my thread through. And I've kind of been enjoying clipping those together. so that I know which ones to tie together. Okay, we're going really slow. I'm going as close to the hardware as I can, and I'm pivoting. Being intentional when I stop my needle. I'm going to backstitch one so that I can get further away from this hardware. Hand crank until, again, I'm away from that hardware. And I just need like a really thin piece. There we go. Stop in that corner. Leave those tails long. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to tie these together first. And then I'm probably going to use some Fabri-Tac and a little piece of double-sided tape so they never come undone. I want this customer to be like, oh my God, this is the most incredible bag I've ever seen. You did amazing. And I'll be like, thank you. I hope it was worth the wait. And then just be super careful as you pull on those threads so that you do not rip the thread. And then I can knot those all together, trim my excess, a little bit of glue behind this connector, come on. And a piece of duct tape. And then where's that going? Nowhere. Not going anywhere. Oh, it's so beautiful. Gorgeous. Okay, and then if you're paranoid that maybe your connector moved in the process of all that, then take a minute and then readjust. I don't think I left those tails long enough. It's okay. It's okay. I might try this. Okay, yeah, that worked well. Okay, and then if you're worried you're gonna forget to make your tails long for the next one, do it while you're looking at it. Then we'll come around here. Okay, they're not too short. They're just not long enough, especially if you've got some dexterity issues. Again, pull on it carefully. I will be honest too, like I'm not a huge fan of having to do all this extra work. Like I'm someone who likes to just get through the bag, but I think the process of bringing a little extra craftsmanship is also extremely rewarding. I just don't have enough hours in the day to do this with every single bag I make, especially if I'm just filming a tutorial necessarily. So I hope at some day in my life I'm to the point where all of this is kind of like second nature and I can just easily do it, if that makes sense. Like having a 3-year-old and a full-time business, like that isn't making bags necessarily. I don't have time for knotting all of my threads, but boy, do I wish I did. That and that extra time that it takes, like maybe eventually you'll get that customer base, but a lot of times people are not looking to pay $500+ for your handmade bag. Like I think I charged $140 for this bag, maybe even just $125 to be honest. And oof, that is gorgeous. I'm gonna go ahead and add my bottom panel to this side, but as I was saying, like I don't think for all that I'm doing that she paid enough, like when you charge yourself per hour. I am fine with what I charged, but you know, we do have to pay ourselves. All right, so again, I'm doing 3/8 seam allowance so that I'm not too close to that stabilizer. It has room to breathe and sit. And then I'm gonna top stitch along the base. I'm not adding any purse feet to this bag. I think it'll be fine without them. And like I do think it would be fun to maybe do some extra stitching along the bottom. I also think it'll be fine without, but yeah, see how nice that sits. I love the feel of the fleece in there. So I'm very excited. All right, and now make sure you're grabbing your square rings. Your triangle rings are for later. Don't get them confused. Okay. And then yeah, 1.5 down from the top, 4.5 in. I do like to leave these clipped, not for too terribly long, but you also don't want your fabric to like pop open while you're in the process of clipping everything down. You could even potentially use some glue. Just make sure it's out of your seam allowances where you're going to be stitching in case your machine can't handle the glue. Okay, and then I'm starting at the bottom. I like to do the one closest to me first. I'm starting at the bottom in that corner. My tails are pretty long. My stitch length is still on 5, and like it's worked out pretty well to land in the corners almost exactly where I need them to. Pull those back. I am also pulling on my square ring so that it's up as high as possible within that fabric. And then another thing you could do with this pattern is if you've used any of Shannon from Knotted Threads Co.'s patterns, she has a lot of really cool techniques as far as bulk reducing. Like for this, she might even create, I don't know how she would do connectors like this. She's done really long ones where she hides one end in almost like a hidden strap connector, but not exactly. And that always looks really cool. So there's all different kinds of techniques. All right, so I clipped these together. These are the ones I'm gonna tie first, pulling on it really tight. Okay, pulling up on that next one. It broke. Dang it. I have no idea what kind of sorcery to use here. I can knot these together and then I'll just make sure I glue it really well. And get that duct tape on there. I was being so careful. I don't know what happened. You also want to be careful when you're gluing that it's not going to like seep out your stitch holes or anything. And that's why I'm putting the bulk of that glue behind my connector, because it would have to go through like friggin' 5 layers of vinyl. Probably more, I'm just giving a number. Add another little piece here. But we can also rivet, oh Lord. We can also rivet through this. We can add one little rivet kind of in the center of that if we wish. Oh, did I? Yeah, I did tape that on. I was doing quite a bit of maneuvering, so. Alrighty then, 4.5. All right, well, let's not do that again, shall we? Okay, long threads. I wonder if it's hard to pull that thread through because I'm trying to go through the same hole where I've already tied my thread, and I tied it nice and tight. So maybe I'll try to pull my other side through first and then tie everything off. Yeah, okay, that's way easier. Which makes sense. I just always feel like I'm gonna get them all mixed up. And I just don't think they look quite as good when you mix them all up. You could use a pair of tweezers for this too if you wanted. Okay. I really think it's going to be fine without the rivets. So I'm just going to sew the bottom panel together. This really is quite a large bag too. Okay. I'm gonna need the full work surface. And press that seam down to create that beautiful edge. And then we're going to put right sides together. I've got everything attached to the exterior except for my triangle rings that I needed to. Pinch all these layers together. And so I'm doing 3/8 of an inch on the exterior right now. And then I'm going to do 3/8 to start with on the interior and then switch to 1/2 inch in the bottom so that it's a nice fit. I know the pattern is written for a 1/2 inch seam allowance, but I know that making that change is not going to matter. I have very recently added a seam guide to my machine, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I've been using like a 3/8 most of the time without even realizing. Then fold the bottom itself like that. We're going to stitch all the way across, making sure nothing shifts. Three-eighths. Repeat on this side. And then we're going to add our triangle rings. I think it would be fun too to use the bridge connector hardware from Sonar. That would look really fun on this bag, very like industrial. But I know Nicole trusts them for her crossbody straps on her bags, but I just worry if this bag is loaded up that like a rivet could pop or something. I just never know. So I don't want to risk it. All right, and we really don't need to trim any of that down, and the structure on this feels incredible. I think I'm going to tape my seam allowance open at this point, at this part of the bag, so that I can add my strap connector without worrying my fabric's going to get messed up. If your machine does not like double-sided tape, I don't think you should do this, but I think it'll be okay for my machine. And I'm not like taping all the way down, I'm just pretty much doing the length of that strap connector. And this is going to go 1.5 inch down from the top edge, centered. So I know that this is the top edge of the bag. I'm going to grab my connector here, take my 1 inch ruler, measure 1.5 inches down, lining up the center, and then I can line up the edges of that connector. I'm going to take off my clips. I'm going to start at the bottom corner, work my way up, over, just gonna use that little scrap of Decavil. Oh, it hurts to smash it. Probably gonna do this bag as a drop-in lining. That was not my original plan, but I really don't want to accidentally crease anything that I shouldn't. make this a drop-in lining. So we need to measure 1 inch down. Where is it? Probably 3/4 of an inch down along the entire top edge. Yes, 3/4 of an inch. The entire top edge of the bag. This would have been so much easier if I'd thought of it before I put the bag together. But essentially it's gonna be right on top of that stabilizer. You're not gonna force it lower because you literally can't. But yeah, there's no way I want to try to turn this bag. So I think this will be really good. And then maybe I'll hop on over to the old cylinder arm to finish it. But I'm going to use 1/4 inch double-sided tape all the way around. I'm not going to peel the tape up just yet. I'm just going to leave it. And we're just putting that tape right above that line. And you want to make sure that you press it nicely down on that Decaville. All right. Oh, so beautiful. I have a spare thread down in here though. Like, where are you from? I'll snip it later, but okay, we can work on our interior now. I'm going to start with that cargo pocket because I am highly anticipating what that's going to look like. And so I'm going to take one of my lining pieces here, my trim, and my cargo pocket. We've got tape and fancy interfacing here. We're going to fold this to that interfacing line, or I should say to a 1 inch line. So if you didn't watch the cutting video, this really isn't going to make a whole lot of sense. This is nowhere near being in the pattern. So kind of fun. So I'm just folding it to that 1 inch line. And then I've got some double-sided tape here so that I don't have to sew the top edge together. This cotton on this machine, it won't do well, you know. So I don't want to do that. And then this is the back side of my pocket. This is the front side of my pocket. I think it'll be okay. So we're gonna peel off one side. I am using Luxe accessory weight vinyl, so this is not going to be thick. I feel like so far all of this is domestic friendly, but I'll let you know once I get started. But the way we've interfaced it, I think we'll be okay. And then I know my trim is wider. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to peel or cut the excess off. And we'll fold that down over top. Oh yeah, this not only feels incredible, like I think it looks really good. And then if you wanted to add a woven label, you can. I don't know if I have any of the made for the fairest of them all. We do. All right, let's do it. Put that over here. Just lift that up. Okay. So I'm going to start my stitching right at my cotton fabric, backstitch, and continue down. I might add 2 rows of stitching to this, one to this bottom edge, one to the top edge, but my hope is that I'm catching all the layers. Okay, I'm getting close to the edge, so I'll backstitch. Man, I just barely caught it right there. So I'm going to do a second row of stitching. Is that like at, no, just after, okay. So I'm going to do a second row of stitching. I'll go ahead and trim off my excess vinyl. It's wonky. It's okay. That's okay. All right, so now we're gonna fold this in half. This is going to be the nicest cargo pockets I have ever made. So we've got our center here. You can use an erasable pen if you want, but we're going to go on the left and the right side, lining side facing up, so my apples are upside down, and I'm going to top stitch on my exterior side, making a crease. So we should be 1 inch away from our center crease, and we are. That's good. I'm going to start up here, back stitch, go all the way down, back stitch. All right, and then open that up. I can see my 1 inch fold, laying my 1 inch ruler right up against it and folding that, creating a crease, sliding my ruler out, and we're going to top stitch that. Okay, so I should have done 8 by 8. I don't know what I was thinking about, like 1 inch on that side, but it just folds in. But I think it's okay. I think not a big deal. So then we're going to find that center fold, and this is what it's going to look like in the end. So it might actually be the width of the lining, and I didn't need to do that to the edges. Yeah, it would have been perfect. I don't know what I was thinking, but honestly, I really like the finished edge, but it's going to be right up against the seam allowance. What was I thinking? This looks so good though. Oh my gosh. All right. So we're gonna fold this in half. We're gonna find our center crease here. I'm gonna line it up like an inch from the bottom. Okay. Make sure that's still lined up. And we are going to stitch. We're gonna make a little box stitch all the way around the center, just like 1/8 of an inch over from all of that. And if you wanted to, you could even add a rivet there. But then we're just gonna fold this right over that line. Yeah, if I hadn't folded those edges in, it would fit perfectly. It didn't need to be folded, but like I said, I think it's kind of nice. And then when you think about it, the corners make it kind of like a gaping pocket, but I think it'll be all right. But if I catch this in the side seam, I'm okay with that. It's gonna add extra stability, truly, to that pocket. It's gonna be less likely to fray over time. So, I'm cool. I like to backstitch quite a bit at the bottom where those pockets join. And I think it's almost time to change the bobbin. Yeah, that looks really good. It feels nice. It is a little silly without that extra little piece of interfacing there, but it also kind of gives the pocket the ability to kind of bend a little bit more, so I'm very, very happy with that. I'm gonna fold this in half and make a center snip because we're gonna be adding our zipper panel there a little later. Love it. We're gonna work on our zipper pocket overlay. How big is this? 2 inches? Cool. So I'm going to add a little 1/2 inch snap hook to this. This has nothing to do with the bag we're making other than it was a scrap piece from my my slip pocket, cargo slip pockets, and I didn't want to waste it. So I'm just going to add double-sided tape down the center. And we're going to use this to make a little wristlet strap, key ring, what have. So I just want to get it taped. And it was in my pile. So I need my 10-inch zipper, one of my zipper pulls, and my overlay lining. I'm not going to put my overlay on yet. I would start with that, but it's not really going to matter. I know that I'm close to running out of bobbins, so I figure I'll just do that really quick. Oh dear. Normally I like my zipper tape way longer. What was I thinking? It will be fine. So imagine you're looking inside your zipper pocket and set your zipper up that way. I baste along the top and then fold it on itself and stitch again. And then repeat on the other side, lining up those. So like you're opening your zipper pocket. And what do you see inside? Oh yeah, the print. And then I'll add double-sided tape across my stitch lines. Zipper pull just came right off. Okay. Set that aside, and then we're going to place this 2.5 inches down, centered. So we'll fold this in half, find that center. We're going to have 1 inch on either side since I cut my zipper overlay just a little bit bigger. All right, let's change the bobbin. I might have had enough for it, but I don't want to risk it. I don't like the way this bobbin looks. So we'll go with this one. I should have made my straps already. I don't know what I was thinking. But alas, I did not. Now we're going to cut through just really carefully. Make sure you're just going through that fabric. So pretty. Now we've got our zipper here, and our zipper tape is long enough, so that's good. And it's up to you if you feel confident. You can unpeel both pieces of zipper. Nope, unpeel both pieces of double-sided tape. But if you want, you could just place one and then lift up and unpeel the other after. So like once you get the top of the zipper overlay in place, and do the other one. Sometimes standing, I mean, besides it feeling nice on your body, can help. You want to make sure that your overlay is in line with your lining fabric as well. And then normally I like to make sure that my zipper pull is way out of the way because I keep my zipper tape longer, but I didn't this time, so I'm gonna have to just go slow and careful to make sure things don't move around. Dang it. Did I complete? Yeah, I completed 2 stitches. It'll probably be okay. It's not great. It's okay. When you're new to tying off your threads, it doesn't hurt to check and see what it looks like on the other side in between or during tying your threads, just so you can be sure that it's all doing what it needs to do. Okay, looks good. I did back tack at where the zipper meets here because I don't want over time for it to just kind of like come loose. Since my zipper tape is not long enough, I cannot sew through that again. So I'm also gently making sure that doesn't fray. Press that down. And then, like I mentioned in my cutting video, if you are skilled smart, attentive enough to cut one side shorter, go ahead. Otherwise, I just trim in the end. Like, what was I going to use this for? Nothing. It's fine. And then we'll sew through what should have been zipper tape and lining, but it's just lining fabric. I'm doing a drop-in lining so I can sew all the way around this. And that's honestly good that I'm doing the drop-in, because then I don't have to add undue stress to my zipper. But it looks really pretty regardless of that one stitch, but that's the I'm human stitch, so it's okay. All right, now we're gonna work on our zipper panel. Mark 1 inch on each end of the zipper panel. And for this, it should wrap, oh, that was crooked, right around the Decaville light. Tape, could use 1/8, could use 1/4, whichever works for you. And then there's also like probably 4 ways that I know of to make a zipper panel, so do whichever one you like. It's not a big deal. I'll go ahead and use 1/4 inch for this one. I don't know if the 1/8 inch would hold long enough on this vinyl for me. And then if you are working on this like one side at a time and you are using vinyl, you can just tape one side for now. And then I'm gonna do a little bulk reduction by cutting out these little triangles here on this end and the other end. Hopefully I don't regret that. We'll set that next one aside for now. And again, we're just gonna wrap that as tight as we can around that Decaville light. And then 1/8 inch wide double-sided tape where you'll be adding the zipper. And the apples are going to be the lining side, so I'm going to start here. Make sure this is pressed down all the way. Open that up. And then we're going to lay one side of the zipper about 1/8 of an inch. I don't know if I want to do a perky or a depressed zipper panel yet. I'll decide later. 3/8 inch, 1/4, 3/8. I'm sewing to about 1/8 of an inch from that, pressing that open. I'm gonna zip that back up and then work on folding this side. And so before I snip the corners, I'm pressing the center because you don't want to snip at that raw edge. You want to have enough that you're not going to see that lifting. Okay. Piece of double-sided tape. Another piece. Okay. Oh, that is hilarious because I did not fussy cut it. Shut up. I literally cut those from 2 separate places. The cutting video proves it. This Courtyard Luxe is one of my absolute favorites. Color's just gorgeous. All right. Okay, so you're putting linings right sides together, exteriors right sides together with your zipper teeth touching the exterior. I got my tape in there a little long, so I'm just moving that out of the way. And then a 3/8 inch or a quarter, whatever is best for you. And then I'm starting about 1/8 of an inch down from that. And then stopping about 1/8 before I get there. Press that open. Pressing that open as well. Clip together what we can. Oh, that's good. Okay, starting the top stitch on the side, pivoting down. Move your zipper pull if you need to. Needle in the corner, pivot, and then down. And then I'm snipping my center. I'm going to start with this side with a zipper pull. Make sure my zipper pocket is facing down. Make sure I caught my lining. I'm going to do a second row stitching across the bottom of this, just in case. Maybe something sharp goes in there and it snips through a thread. Well, second line of defense. Couldn't hurt. So fun. Okay. Line those up, line up that center snip. Okay, that fits nicely. I almost feel like the zipper panel might be just a tad wide. I'll baste that in place. And then I grabbed my lining top. I'm lining this up with the top edge of my lining, not my interfacing. Normally it's a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm gonna do 3/8. That's what I like. Don't come for me. All right, and then I get to decide perky or depressed. I might do a a perky, because then my seam allowance is away from the top edge of my bag, making the drop in a little bit easier. I don't know if I said I may do, but clearly I am doing. Okay, when you do this, make sure your zipper pocket is just totally out of the way. Okay, next side. I'm so excited. We're so close to being done. Okay, line that up with the top edge there. It's one of those things where it's like making that phone call you've been putting off, but you knew it would take 5 minutes to do. This is not the same at all. So this has taken me all day, but I'm glad I didn't do it any sooner, because we're just, you know, in between big things, and this feels really nice to just be creative with it and make something new. Not new, but it kind of is. I still didn't make my straps. Dang it. Alrighty. I just want to make sure I caught all my basting stitches. Yeah. Alright, and then while this is flat, I'm going to create my fold 2 lines. So that I'm not making it harder on myself. So the outside is 3/8. You want this to be a 1 inch. Yeah. Although it could probably be the same, honestly. We'll see. But there's no interfacing here. Yeah, then no, that's good. That's perfect. So lining my ruler up 1 inch from that top edge. It's going to be, excuse you, right now. Okay, we'll get you a refill some other time. If you've purchased these, they are refillable. I don't sell the refills, but Amazon does. Just FYI. I mean, we have thousands and thousands, so feel free to buy more for everyone you know, or to have 20 around your house, but they're refillable. You could tape it now if you want. Couldn't hurt. And then just keep it out of your seam allowance, basically. And when we sew this together, we are going to start at 3/8, and we're going to end at 1/2. because we want the 3/8 to match. I think the bag is wide enough that it's not going to be like that. I think it'll sit open. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Can't take it off. If it does sit weird, I will probably cry though. Just saying. Okay. Starting at 3/8. Ending at 1/2. My zipper tape is face up. Exterior face up. You want it to be what it will look like when you look inside the bag. My tail is out of the way. Okay, sorry. I don't want my mic to die. And then we've started at 3/8 and we're going into 1/2. I am trimming my excess lining here. If you want to, you could do a second row of stitching on the side just to help reinforce. I think we'll be okay though. Okay, we're gonna close the bottom. Now, if you were making this bag as it is in the pattern, you could leave that open to turn the bag through, especially since this one is so big, but we'll be okay. I did 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you wanted to try to get in there, it's kind of impossible now. We could have started there. You could have like butterfly stitched that open for a really fancy looking bag bottom. Trim that off. I'm going to unzip this and we'll sew this shut. Again, this is going to be a 1/2 inch seam allowance because we did 3/8 on the outside. Make sure we reline up all those layers. You can do 2 stitching lines. I hope this fits like a dream, man. Oh. Should make my straps, but I actually can't finish this bag really anyway because I don't have 1.5 inch wide hardware snap hooks, I should say. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna finish this bag on this machine. I'm not gonna switch to my cylinder arm. I know that I should use it more since purchasing it, but it's just like I know how to do it on this machine, so I just don't feel like it's 100% necessary, and I'm not used to how the other one sews. And I mean, truly, you can't get used to it unless you use it, but yeah. All right, so I'm reducing some of the bulk by just angling that seam allowance so that I'm sewing through less. And I'm just carefully clipping around. So again, over here, just carefully angling that away. Okay, so real talk, I would switch to the other machine, but I have to go get Dorothy soon, and I have to work tomorrow, so I won't be able to finish this bag tomorrow, so it's like now or never, and this is my life. This is why I don't take those extra steps when I know I should, because I don't get consistent sewing time. Zipper panel. Don't make me regret. I think it'll be okay. Once the bag is together, like it'll scrunch down in there just fine, I think. All right. So I need to turn this right side out. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. When I tell you I am so sad my camera died, it's okay. All you missed was me finishing folding and placing everything inside. I'm a little like not in love with my zipper panel being perky, but again, I think once you shove the bag full of stuff, you'll be okay. So I'm gonna quickly but safely top stitch this. I have like an hour before I need to go get Dorothy, so I think I'll be okay. Structure is divine. So I am going to top stitch this way. I'm gonna start on the back side. I don't think I can comfortably start at the side seam. Maybe I will, because I really want to try the method of like tying your threads off and then hiding them inside your seam. So I am gonna do, I'm gonna follow the edge of the foot, which is not something I normally do, but it's the best I got today. I am pretty confident in my thread, my bobbin. And I don't feel like things are gonna shift on me. Just as I'm doing this, I'm making sure that my lining and my exterior edges are aligned. And then I'm putting my hardware down so it's not bumping into anything as I do this. Yeah. Stitching looks good. Try not to take off too many clips at once, especially if you're not confident in your double-sided tape. And then I'm folding my zipper panel down. Fun fact, I did not start my stitching at that side seam. So I'm pulling my threads out until I get there. There we go. And then I'm going to hold on to those threads. And then hope and pray that I go into those same exact holes. And I might actually okay, I did it. Okay, and then you're going to stop in that side seam. Make sure your threads are super long. Okay. I'm just so worried that my microphone's gonna die. Like, what next? So you're tying these nice and tight. I'll grab that next thread. One more time. Okay. And then both of these, you're going to like grab a needle and like pull up, like pull it in to your seam here and like hide them. I'm gonna do that in a little bit. I'm gonna work on my straps super quick so that we have that completed, and then it's just crossbody straps so that I can at least get the handles on for what the bag is gonna look like. What can I stick that to so I can easily see it? We're gonna fold our strap. I don't think I'm gonna do the 3/8 and the 1/8. Just gonna do the 1/8. Leave a tiny gap to fold your strap onto. Hide any of that double-sided tape. All right, we're going to start on this side that's open. And then I'll stop before I get to the edge, needle down, pivot, and back up. stop at the edge, needle down, pivot, over and up. Okay, one done. We'll have the other one here. I'm just really relieved to get this done. Lining up that open edge as I go. You could just tape that if you'd prefer. So then I'm just going to rivet those on the bag. I think she is going to be extremely impressed with this bag. I mean, I would be. It really isn't too heavy either, which is good. And then I like to make sure that the fold of my strap is on the inside, and I did not do it on this side. I don't know that everybody thinks of that, but it is kind of nice to make it even in that way. So that is pretty much the entire bag finished. Just have to rivet that on, make my crossbody strap. I think it is so beautiful. I can't wait to truly finish it, but like, holy crap, the structure is stunning. I think the zipper panel is actually pretty good. Oh yeah, I need to add a zipper end. Make sure I have a black nickel one. Thank you for hanging out with me while we make this. I hope you'll try something like it, or maybe you won't, or maybe you will, but I will see you guys next time. Bye.